Children of the night, what music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's that?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Welcome to Final Guys, where tonight, along with our usual round-robin discussion of what we watched this week, we're discussing the Valentine horror slasher Heart Eyes. Here with us tonight, as always, is Bret Hart, a.k.a. the Hitman Campese.
Oh, yeah.
Trying not to cough for us tonight.
Still sick.
Jason, my heart eyes are up here. Brant.
He's got
And
nice breasts.
Hunter, hard on. Have to say it fast. Shay.
Hello.
And myself, Chad. I heart slashers. Okay, so drinking words. Let's get to them fast so we don't forget.
All right, let's get to drinking.
Wow, that was very efficient.
Damn.
Here we go. If we say these words, you must drink or toke or smoke or pop an edible. Whatever. Jack's words tonight are slasher, city, grape. Mine are movie, mask, and eyes. Jason's are bloody, Seattle, rom-com. I bet rom-com is rarely ever said out of that mouth in any given year.
Like 3 times in my life.
Chad's are cynical, merry, and Valentine. And bonus, if any of us say death, pit, or hearts, do what you got to do.
All right.
No Reuben? I thought for sure we'd have a Reuben in there.
That'd have been a good one.
I might have forgotten the connection.
I see.
Right.
Sharon did not put Tubi in there. He did not grab the low hanging fruit. So,
well, because you threw him off the scent from last week.
There
were
so.
No Tubies, so he's like, "Oh, guess he's moved on."
All right. Anything special? Announcement? Anybody? Books? Stuff.
Good. Want me to go first? This is real quick. So Valentine's Day was also my wedding anniversary. So 33 years.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
They said it wouldn't last 33 days. But my incredible wife got me the screenplay for Heretic. Remembered I had mentioned it one time, how much I wanted to just kind of like see how the sausage is made. So I cannot wait to dive. There is no publication name, nothing. It's just the screenplay. I don't know if she made it on her
bootleg.
Yeah, I don't care.
Great dialogue. That's a good one to go back to.
Exactly.
For sure. Sunday, I will be opening these packages behind me. I can't believe it's been a month already. I still have the movies from last month.
You're so full of crap. Every week you're like, I'm opening more stuff. I can't believe it's been more week. You're full. Oh God, I call bullshit.
Wow, it's an attack.
What am I lying about?
You open presents.
It's like every week, dude.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm cooler than you.
I, for one, pity you.
Oh, no, I hate them because I got a couple of things in the mail and they had a campaign blacklisting me. I don't get anything anymore. And this guy has freaking parties online. Look at all the stuff I'm getting.
Really? Would you like Ghetto Blaster? Is that what you're saying?
Nice. Yes.
You want a copy of Ghetto
that looks awesome.
Oh, God.
My Blu-ray player is buried right now. I couldn't even watch it if I wanted to.
Might be a good thing if that was in your house.
All right, man. Well, if that's it, let's get to some news.
It's the news. Yay.
Remember how there is supposedly going to be a Jason Voorhees TV series?
Mm-hmm.
And then we keep hearing like, somebody's been fired from it or this and that. Some actual news came up about it. Linda Cardinelli is in talks to play Pam Voorhees in the first season.
I'm psyched.
Linda Cardinelli is the girl who played Velma in the Scooby-Doo movie. She was Hawkeye's wife in the Avengers movies.
She got to start in Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and Geeks.
You'll know her if you see her.
Yeah, I should remember from the Avengers movies, but I'm drawing a blank.
Linda Cardinelli is great.
She just did a show with Ray Romano and Lisa Kudrow on Netflix. That was really good.
What was it called?
Oh, I forget, but it was funny.
Linda Cardinelli.
Hey, come on over.
So I don't remember. Are they gonna? Jason's gonna be in this, but it won't be called Friday the 13th. Are those the rules?
Something
Probably
like
like
that.
This is the
Camp
Camp
Blood or
Crystal
something.
Lake series.
Camp Crystal Lake series.
Because doesn't somebody owns the Friday the 13th name? I think Cunningham, and then somebody else owns the Jason character,
Yeah.
like the slasher. It's
I
like
think
something
at first
stupid.
Bryan Singer, who did Hannibal, was going to do a similar thing to Hannibal, where he was going to sort of interpret the movies as seasons or something. But now he's gone, and I don't know what they're doing.
So wasn't A24 attached to this at one point?
They are.
It's still okay.
It's an A24 Peacock combination.
But don't
Interesting.
expect Jason. At best, Jason's a camp goer in this.
Well, I would imagine first season or two, he'll show
His
up.
mom his mom will probably be taking care of business at least the first season.
The hockey mess won't be till like season 7, but
Oh, please.
That's when they dig him up and stick the stake in the ground.
You can't beat that.
call
It's
me then.
the best movie. It's so good.
Season 15, finally get the space.
Hey, I wanted to point something out. Rusty Smithy, I love that name. If anyone wants a freebie, my book People Die Here will be free on Kindle starting tomorrow for a few days. There we go.
Nice.
Hope
Nice.
it's horror.
Is Rusty Smithy the name of the author, or is that like a screen name and we should look for a different name for the author?
He's the cousin of Rusty Trombone.
That's what I was wondering.
And Alan Smithy. He's the bastard love child.
The bastard son of 100 maniacs. The Last of Us.
It looks like it's R.D. Smithy. Sorry.
Cool. I'm gonna pick
Okay,
that up.
cool. Thank you. The Last of Us season 2 is actually supposed to land April 2025. I kind of forget that there was a series.
It's been a while.
This is what I miss, old television where you had a season and then like the summer and then another season. Now it's like you watch something and 3 years later, like, hey, remember that show we watched about the,
Yeah, I don't understand the delays on these things. Like, okay, I understand you don't want to do 20 some episodes, but can we plan out the second season so if you get the green light, you can roll right away?
There was like 6 episodes in the first season.
Yeah, it was not long.
Took a lot out of him.
I don't know. I've heard people are not anticipating this season very much because they hated the game it's based on. I haven't played any of them, but that's what I have heard.
Well, there's been a lot of speculation about how many seasons the show would actually run. And now the executive producer said that she thinks there's going to be this season and then probably 2 more on top. So 4 total.
So
Is the
17
guess.
years will wrap this up.
Yeah. So basically when I'm, in
Well,
my
they took a
grave.
Sopranos break. They're a Max
Yeah.
show, so that's what they do.
That's a perfect example. You remember like in the Sopranos, Christopher's wife or girlfriend gets whacked.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 years until like the next season.
Yeah. Those weights were just brutal. They were killing me.
Okay, this next piece of news, I'm curious. Hunter, I know you're going to say yes to this. I think Chad is a strong maybe, and I'm going to guess no for Jason. Who here has seen The Boys from Brazil?
I just watched it a month ago. Rewatched
I
it.
haven't.
Nope.
I forgot Steve Guttenberg is in it.
Steve Guttenberg. I watched this a year or 2 ago. The Boys from Brazil is a classic kind of Hitler cloning kind of story.
They saved Hitler's sperm.
And,
We can't say Hitler on the show, can we?
let's say Trump.
Adolf.
Well, it looks like they are going to have a Netflix series adaptation of The Boys from Brazil. And it's going to have Jeremy Strong, who is the oldest or the older brother on Succession.
Huh.
All right.
I actually think this is a good one to give the series treatment to.
You could expand that universe. You could do a lot with it. I agree. You're not going to have Gregory Peck, who was amazing in it.
Is
But
what's
whatever.
his name in it? Laurence Olivier, is he in there?
Yes. He's the Nazi hunter. The
Yeah.
bumbling kind of, you think he's a moron Nazi hunter, but past his prime.
I think Jeremy Strong is going to play the Gutenberg character.
I was like, my jaw dropped because I saw it last probably like, in the early 80s. I was like, Steve Gutenberg's in this? And he's serious?
Quick aside, last night I watched for the first time since the 80s To Live and Die in LA.
Ooh, good one.
William Peterson from CSI and Manhunter. Willem Dafoe is the bad guy in that movie. I had no idea.
Looking beautiful, I'm sure.
So young, and I'm like, how the hell old is this guy? The last piece of news is going to be dear to Jason especially. The Last Drive-In kicks in on March 7th with a 100th birthday celebration. I think that is for the movie they're showing.
Yes, they think it's Phantom of the Opera. So get ready for a silent film.
Interesting. Okay. What did you say kicks off?
March 7th.
Oh, all right.
So
I did not watch nearly enough of last season. I got to make up for it this year.
Well, they're going back to the double feature format, but from what I read, only the first Friday of every month.
What?
Yep.
So it's just once a month?
Yeah.
Dude, this just reminds me of Monster Vision. They start screwing with the format. That means the end is near. Not a good sign.
I would prefer they just do one movie and give us.
I'm guessing it didn't do as well. I mean, they only did it for one season, but yeah, we'll see.
I say that because I only last for one movie anyway. So.
That's true. We can barely get to the end of the first movie.
So,
yep.
But anyway, it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm glad they haven't canned the show yet. So
they canned that. I'm worried for Shudder.
Yeah. Honestly, pretty much everyone in my friend group is subscribed to Shudder because of Joe Bob.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's gonna hurt.
That would not be a good sign.
I'm curious if Shudder went away. AMC owns Shudder. I wonder if all the movies on Shudder are just on AMC anyway.
Good question. I don't know.
I'll bet they are. Well, we'll find out after this season what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real.
Well, that is all the news, my friends. That's fit the print.
Thanks, Jack.
You want me to just roll it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I will roll it now then.
We have such sights to show you.
All right. Jason, what did you read or what did you watch or what did you play this past week?
I think you and I can piggyback on something because I watched The Dead Thing on Shudder, which I saw was on your watch list.
Mm-hmm.
So this was written, directed by Elric Kane from Colors of the Dark podcast with
really?
Professor that was her name?
Rebecca McKendry?
Yeah, with Rebecca McKendry. So yeah, he apparently made a movie, which is really cool. I mean, the guy's been talking about movies for how long now?
He also says the word bonkers a lot.
Okay. Yes. So this is the classic story of a woman who sleeps with a ton of guys and falls in love with one of them and only gets ghosted by him later and then sees him like on another date and she starts to spiral and then weird supernatural shit starts to happen. This is a very, very small movie. Not that many actors, not that many locations. It's more, I guess it's like a psychological thriller even more than horror. Like there's some horror in it, but maybe not a ton. Very slowly paced. Cool moments. There's a couple very cool moments that I liked a lot. The main actress is very good. I'm not entirely sure. I think I know what happened, but I'm not 100% on a few scenes. One scene in particular in the middle of the movie, I didn't understand until later. This was okay. It's not bad. It looked good. The pacing was slow, but, sometimes that's not always a negative for everyone. So I thought it was all right. For a first movie in particular, he did a solid job. Yeah, could have used a little more going on maybe.
Not main feature worthy.
I don't think so. I think it's a good Shudder movie though. Like this is a good one to go on there, see what this guy's doing. So yeah.
But was it bonkers?
No, I wouldn't say it was bonkers.
Oh, that's what I'd expect from him.
No, yeah. If this is his first movie, it's great for a first movie. But my thing is, like, the horror aspect of it. I mean, it has a kind of a darker tone throughout, but the horror aspect of it doesn't come in till almost like 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I'm just watching like an indie romance, with like a dark edge to it, and I'm thinking, if somehow this got put on Shudder by accident and this is just an indie romance, I was okay with that because I was enjoying it. It's the horror element that started to lose me a little bit because I really liked the first like almost half. It reminded me
seeing her O face a lot because there's like 50 shots of her on a bed, close up of her face as a dude is going down on her or something. It's like it happens a lot.
I could have used a little more O face.
Oh.
What was that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal about the art scene? But then it was a horror movie.
The Perfection.
Was it Neon Demon?
No.
Neon something sounds right. What was that?
Yeah.
called?
But that movie reminds me of this one where the horror for me ruined it. Like if you'd just given me a movie about the art scene and how ridiculous it is with these people, I was really enjoying that. And the same with this. I guess I was just kind of invested in their relationship. I thought the acting was great and stuff. And then the horror just seemed kind of shoehorned in, and some great visuals though, great music and great acting. But it just kind of wasn't for me. Impressive first half though.
Yeah, you know, you say that, I totally agree. The supernatural elements, I didn't need that. Yeah. I think had it not gone down the supernatural route, if it had been more just like a psychological thriller, I feel like it would have worked better.
This movie is sliding off of my watch list.
It's not a pile of shit. It's not bad. I'm not saying that. I think the last half lost me a lot more than the first half.
Yep. Cool.
All
right, man.
Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yes.
That's it.
Thanks, Josh.
That's it.
Yeah, there. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, what do you say, Hard On?
All right, so I do a thing with my Patreon folks where we watch a movie together. We haven't done it in months, so I said, let me harken back to the 80s and watch a movie that I've never seen, but I used to see the cover all the time at the VHS shop near me, The Dead Pit. Oh, yeah. You guys ever see this one?
Is that the one with the zombie on the front? Or a creepy looking guy on the front? Yeah.
Yeah, crawling out of a pit. So,
yes.
Dude, this is like the perfect movie to watch. It's one of those where, especially if you're watching with a group of people, you don't really need to pay much attention. Dialogue is meaningless. But it centers around this mental hospital where this doctor is using the patients to conduct experiments with death. And when he's done with them, he chucks them in the pit. And in the very beginning, he ends up in the pit as well. And the doctor who puts him in there just seals up the whole basement and just says, all right, well, we're done. No one's going to question anything. Cut to 20 years later, and this woman is brought, she's been in an accident. She has amnesia. So here she is, Cheryl Lawson, possibly the best looking.
I'm feeling like this was going to go on the watch list.
Dude, that outfit, the white underpants and little crop top she wears for about 80% of the movie.
O-face coming on.
So she's put in there naturally because you've been in an accident, you have an amnesia, so they'll stick you in a mental home with like severely crazy people. And her first day there's an earthquake, and it opens up the pit, and then it becomes this whole thing where she's kind of like tuned in to the things that are in the pit, and nobody will believe her, and eventually it becomes a zombie movie. This movie, it's a cheap 80s horror movie that doesn't click on all cylinders, but it's a freaking blast to watch. I had a really good time with it. I mean, you got zombies, you got gore, some ridiculous acting and dialogue that's just hysterical. 80s soundtrack. I mean, what more can you ask for? So The Dead Pit was pretty good.
I gotta put that on a list. That sounds like
you do.
Does she get out of that crop top?
But she does have a dream where a person hits her with a fire hose and hoses her clothes off of her while she's chained to a wall. The scene means nothing to anything other than the fact that we got to get her clothes off.
That's funny.
That's the 80s in a nutshell right there. And I think she went on to become a stunt woman. So she has a very small movie career as far as being a star.
Good for her.
Yeah, no, you'll have fun with it.
That's so
cool. All right. Cool. What about you, Jack? What'd you watch, man?
I went over to Apple TV and watched a brand new movie with Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller.
I'm thinking of
getting Gorge.
I'm thinking of getting
after this. Shoot, you beat me to it. I got Apple TV just for this movie, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got to pull the trigger.
This is a movie about two super snipers who are recruited to guard either side of this gorge that is like mist covered. And their instructions are to shoot anything that comes up and don't let anything out of it, but not to communicate with the person on the other side. And like it's like the Western and Eastern forces.
Tear down that gorge.
And then kind of like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, they start to communicate with each other with signs and stuff like that. And when you're Miles Teller looking through your telescope at Anya Taylor-Joy, come on. You're going to figure out a way to get on the other side.
The ethereal Anya Taylor-Joy.
So the first half of the movie has a little bit of action and some sniper stuff to establish things. But then it's kind of this long distance relationship until they finally get together, but then eventually they got to deal with what's going on at the bottom of the gorge. And so then kind of the second half of the movie is more of an action movie. And I'm going to say this is a good streaming watch, but it is not like a smart movie. Like I don't think you're going to love it and you're not going to hate it. I do think you guys might like it a little more than me because I have a little more discerning taste. But
please,
yeah.
The action is kind of video game. The creatures are kind of Groot-like. So you've got A-list talent, a lot of money put into it. If you don't think about little details and why they're doing things, and that was convenient and things like that, and just put it on for a popcorn movie, you'll have a great time. If you start to think too much about it, it's going to come apart at the seams. It's a good rental for a entertaining night.
Yeah,
but you're not gonna love it. You're not gonna hate it.
It's got my girl in it, so
yeah.
It's really highly rated. I'm surprised. I hadn't even heard of it until like 3 days
It's
ago.
entertaining. It is definitely entertaining, but it's like Chinese food. You're just gonna eat it and then kind of move on to the next.
I love Chinese food. That's good. Like PF Chang's or like good, like local Chinese food.
I'll give it local.
All right.
Oh,
I like Sheridan says Anya Taylor-Joy can watch him with one eye and snipe him with the other without raising her gun.
It really the action gets kind of like watching a video game after a while. So
again, these all sound fine to me.
Yeah,
exactly. You laughed at me, but I was exactly right. You would like that better than I do.
Probably, yeah. I mean, just for one reason alone, but forget about the story.
I'm the one that watched it first, so.
All right. Well, as we talked about, I saw The Dead Thing over on Shudder. So, Jason, what else did you watch?
I read a book, finally, called... Ooh. I muted myself instead of hitting the share button. I read a book called The Rules of the Road by C.B. Jones. This is about a guy who is driving down the road one day and he hears his radio broadcast is interrupted by a man named Buck Hensley, who kind of rambles a little bit and says, here's your rule of the road for tonight. If you see this isn't the one, but if you see a speed limit sign that says 67 miles per hour, you have to go exactly 67 miles per hour until you see the next speed limit sign or bad things will happen. And he's kind of weirded out by this and isn't really sure what to make of it. And after some weird stuff happened to him around it, he decides to start a blog. And all these people start contacting him through this blog with stories about the rules of the road and how been getting interrupted by Buck Hensley for decades. And if he tells them to do something while they're out on the road and they don't do it, they might die or something else terrible might happen to them. And each chapter is basically a new story that happened around whatever that rule of the road was. So it's kind of like a collection of short stories in that way. But every one is kind of the same thing. Like it's somebody driving down the road, arguing with a loved one or going for a job interview or something, and they hear this and then X happens. So This was cool for like the first quarter. And then it's like this for like 80% of the book. It's just new people, what happens to them, move on. New people, and you don't really get into the meat of who the hell is this Buck Hensley guy and what's going on until like 80%. So that's my biggest problem is it felt like it should have been shrunk down. But I like this guy's writing. It was a really cool story. I always like these ideas of like pirated broadcasts out in the desert and stuff. Interfering radio signals, stuff like that's always been cool to me. So it was fun to read that. I just wish it was maybe truncated a little bit, but I like this book quite a bit. So I'll be looking forward to more stuff from C.B. Jones.
Hey, speaking of pirate radio, our Sober and Silly, who's often in our chat, his uncle used to run the pirate radio off a ship off the coast of Long Island.
Oh my God.
Back in the day. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, right? It's a nice thing to have on your resume.
Yeah.
All right. Hunter.
All right. Let me use both hands. I got to lift this damn book. I read a book. The Institute by Stephen King. I got this book for 25 cents at the library. And I'd never heard of this book, but I did recall, I thought Jason had read it, mentioned
a couple
it
years ago.
So I reached out to you. It's 650 pages. So this is a big one. The story concept is really cool. It's about this institute, the secret institute in the deep woods of Maine, that is kidnapping children who have some level of psychokinetic or psychic abilities that if they reach a certain age or level, these kind of black ops people go in, steal them, murder their parents, stick them in this place. And then there's a series of buildings where they do something to them in one building and then they move on to another. And the whole story is like, what the hell are they doing to these kids? Why are they doing it? And what's the ultimate outcome to this? It's a really fascinating book. The weird thing is it starts out with a totally unrelated story about a guy who's a former cop who kind of like finds his way into this town and becomes like a night watchman. And I'm like, what the hell does this have to do with the Institute? And then, it's gone for 400 pages until it circles back.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. The last half of this book, I could not stop reading. I think I sat down. I didn't get up till I read the last 200 pages. That was in one sitting. So again, wow. Stephen King knows how to draw you in and make you just forget the world for a while. I have two criticisms. Most of the characters in this book are children, usually 12 or under. He cannot write dialogue for a child to save his life. This is the second book I've read from him recently, where every kid sounds like an old-time Mainer sitting outside the general store, saying phrases that are even too old for my old ass to have ever uttered. Yeah. And they have this knowledge of old stuff and old sayings, and you're like, I can't see an 8-year-old going, "Yeah, you're handier than a pocket on a shirt there, buddy." 23 skidoo. So there are periods where the dialogue is so clunky with the kids. Like, and I know Stephen King has children and grandkids. Does he never listen to them speak?
He's got to get like a proofreader or something, an editor who can be like, hey.
Well, he's at the point like Prince. I don't think anyone was editing Prince's music in the end, and nobody's really editing Stevie's stuff either.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's edited his stuff for several decades.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
It could stand somebody going, children don't talk like this. And the other thing, his Trump derangement syndrome showed up 4 separate times in the book, which if it was part of the story, fine, but it's out of nowhere. It's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Does it have to be every time? Just relax.
He can't help himself.
He's only gotten richer every time Trump is president, so it doesn't matter. Life is good for him.
I'd actually forgotten a lot of this book until you texted me and I started thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I did like that.
Yeah.
Because wasn't that kind of like The Shop, which used to be in his old series, like Firestarter and stuff?
Yeah, it's very Firestarter-y.
Yeah.
And Carrie. It's like he's combining a lot of the stuff that he's done over the years.
Which is cool. That's very cool.
It was very cool. And like I said, the last 2 pages, I was like, no, forget it. Nothing's getting done. I can't stop.
You know how long it would take me to read 200 pages? Oh my God.
That took me like the morning. I was done by
That's
dang. He's
a week and a half for me.
There's certain people I can do that to, like him, Douglas Preston, Lincoln Child, Tess Gerritsen. Most others I can't, but it's their style. I don't know what it is.
200 pages is its own novel.
I know. Meanwhile, he's probably like, I take all this time to write this, and this schmuck reads 200 pages in a morning. Thanks for appreciating my art.
All right, Jack, what'd you read?
I did read something.
Oh,
For real?
Tomb of
kidding.
Gods by
Dude,
Brian Moreland.
You bought that book years ago.
I bought this book in
He
2021.
bought that book?
I did. From Brian Moreland. There's his signature.
Yeah.
wasn't that dude on Monster Men like way back?
He's been on
Sure
Monster Man.
was.
He was at Scares That Care a couple of years ago. 2021, I think.
Did I meet him? I hope.
And I was going through my
You might have been in the Bigfoot costume at the time.
packed up boxes,
Maybe.
and I was like, I need something. I was actually reading something else, and I couldn't find it. It was packed somewhere. So I was like, oh, I got to read this. I got tons of books that are in that same, so a ton of Hunter Shea books I still got to get to.
Ditch them all.
So first of all, this is not the first Brian Moreland book I've read. And I will say I have loved every book this guy has written. He writes very cinematic books.
He does, with deep history, real history.
And it's funny because it's not the longest book in the world, and it's a pretty fast-paced story, but somehow it is also epic at the same time because he quickly establishes characters, gives them a backstory, but nothing is too long. So you get to know like this woman and her grandfather who was an explorer before her and had gone into a pyramid and came out like all messed up. And now she's going through an exploration with some other people back in, and they go into this tomb. And then there is a whole world down there. And so he's got history. He's got creatures. It's a horror. It's got history to it. It's an adventure story. And it like I said, you never get bored. It just keeps moving, but everything feels researched. So it's not half-assed. So like I said, it's about 280 pages, but it feels like this epic thing you read. And while I was reading, I said, I actually would like to see this book done as an animated movie.
Ooh, yeah.
Because some of the scope of what they do, I think would really get some good animation on it.
Or like in The Mummy, if you could go back to Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz's Mummy, that could have been one of them. Would have been great.
Yeah, it's like that without kind of the wink.
Right.
So again, Dead of Winter, I think was the first thing I read of his. And I love that book. Again, I was like, this should be a movie. He's a hell of a nice guy. And this is a great book. So, and Hunter, I know you've read this.
Yeah, I love that book. I want to get him on the show because he spent a night or two in Saddam Hussein's palace.
I was thinking it's a spider hole.
No, not the spider hole, but in the palace I think he was a photographer with the military at the time or something.
Wow.
I want to hear that full story.
Definitely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Michael Clark says that is the Scares I was in the Bigfoot costume. So I may have met him that afternoon after I took that off because I don't remember anything from that afternoon.
Oh.
So.
Oh, I hung out with him at his table. I hung out with him in the lobby a few times. He's a great guy.
You can still smell Jason's delirium sweats in the costume.
I lost hours from heat stroke. So
I remember you knocked on my hotel door the next morning and gave it back to me, and I was so disappointed. I was like, "Oh crap! I don't want this."
Oh Jesus! So if I met you, Brian, I apologize. I don't remember anything from Saturday, basically.
Last time you do anything I ask of you.
Correct.
And I appreciated the short chapters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I always like that. That honestly makes me read more. I don't know
Totally.
what it is.
Yeah.
It does something to my brain where I'm like, I'll just read one more.
Because
Oh,
also you
it's
do a
just
short
like-
chapter and you end it on like a little bit of a cliffhanger. Well, I need to see this.
Yep.
Yeah, I always write short chapters because I like to read them, and because I know the science behind that. It's like if you're like, well, I don't have time to watch this 2-hour movie, but I'll watch 6 episodes of The Office.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
That's what James
So-
Patterson has become a billionaire. What's his
The
longest
time I
chapter?
know it's-
4 pages.
The time I know it's time to go to bed is I bang out a few short chapters, and then you get to one that's like 10 pages, and you're like, all right, can I get through this, or is this for tomorrow? You gauge your tiredness on the slightly longer one.
This is cutting into my FAP time. Time to close this book.
all right. So I did not read a book, but I did watch a Tubi movie, a new Tubi movie called "You Shall Not Sleep Tonight." I hadn't heard of this.
You shall
At
fap
all.
tonight.
It took me about 11 minutes to figure out that this was an anthology. In the
Oh,
yeah, which I'm okay with, but I was confused at first. In the meantime, I suffered through what I guess what I'd like to call WTF is going on, because it abruptly stops and then starts something else and then starts something else. And instead of doing the wraparound from the beginning to end, it does a short story, the very beginning of another one, and then part of the wraparound. It's kind of all over the place with that. So, which, by the way, the wraparound story centers around a boy, his dad, and a comic book, except for the dad here is not an angry Tom Adkins.
Oh,
But
the best dad ever.
So anyway, despite being confused, I enjoyed this. Like all anthologies, there's a weak link, but most of these stories are really unique and well done. I thought a few of them were actually kind of touching, especially this one where a man is trying to buy an apple pie from a diner out in the middle of nowhere, and you don't know why, and he's just hanging around for this thing. Arguably not horror, that one at all, but it was probably the most well done one, the most well acted. And it was the standout for me. I know you don't like anthology movies, Hunter, so I'm not going to recommend it to you.
Not my favorite.
But if anyone watching is a fan of anthologies, then you're the demographic for this one, because I think it's worth a watch. I wouldn't put it up there with Creepshow or Southbound, or I can't really name another one right now that I really like, but I think it's better than probably most of them, or at least has some element of uniqueness to it that a lot of the others don't. Also, it's from New Zealand. So.
Oh, I like New Zealand stuff.
But yeah, over on Tubi, You Shall Not Sleep Tonight.
That's what my sciatica has been telling me for the last 4 days.
That's what my cough tells me every night.
It's been right every time.
You and Armando.
I know. I told him, I said, I think I'm getting sympathetic pain because I keep reading your updates on this, and now I have it. So if anyone in the chat has a good solution for sciatica, please let me know. I went to the gym today. That made it feel a little better.
Club soda. Rub some club soda in there.
Club soda?
No, I'm kidding.
I would say, is this like some bizarre TikTok
you're supposed to use club soda for everything to get every single stain out and other things. All right.
I smell like Ben Gay right now.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Jason.
Got any other books or movies to talk about?
That.
All right, but let's get to our main feature, Heart Eyes.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Jack, you probably aren't up for singing a song, right? Or giving us the synopsis. All right.
I'm trying to
What about you?
monitor my breathing so I don't cough all over you.
What about you, Jason? What do you think? You got this?
You want me to sing? Nobody wants
If
that.
you want to.
No, nobody wants that.
No.
Hard Eyes is a slasher about the Hard Eyes killer who every year appears during Valentine's Day and massacres couples who are out on dates. So after a couple years of this, which is when this story picks up, every Valentine's Day the news is reporting, hey, everybody stay home, don't go out because the Hard Eyes killer will get you. And we go to our main character who is heartbroken over a recent breakup and is having a tough time at work. She thinks she's going to lose her job. She randomly runs into a guy at a coffee shop who she kind of has a connection with. And then it turns out that dude is possibly going to replace her at her job. And they meet up for a work/date thing at a restaurant on Valentine's Day. And what do you know? The Hard Eyes killer shows up to kick some ass. And shenanigans ensue from there.
The first part of the setup, like the first, 30 seconds that you were describing it, sounded like Son of Sam meets My Bloody Valentine. Killing the couples and what's this Harry what? What's his
balls?
Harry Warden?
Yeah, Harry Warden.
Palmer.
Yeah. So Jason, since you're talking about, what'd you think of it? Did you?
I like this movie. I had fun with it. It's very well directed. I thought some fun kills. Would have liked a little crazier kills, to be honest, but fun. And considering we don't get theatrical slashers very often, I was just sitting in the theater, eating my fries, like, hey, I'm digging this. This is a fun movie. The dialogue is great between the two main characters. They have the actors are very well cast, and their back and forth is good. What do we got?
Oh, Josh Barrio, $2. I want my $2. Each of you go to your karaoke song.
What is your go-to karaoke song? I think is what he's
probably.
Oh, jeez.
I have never sang karaoke in my life.
Me neither.
I got thrown out of a karaoke bar for singing Daniel by Elton John really drunk.
I got a standing ovation from My Way. I sang Candyman at my friend's wedding. I do a mean Can't Smile Without You.
Wow. All right. You got one for each of us. I've never sang karaoke, but my buddy Dave does, or he has. He used to do it in college quite a bit. We were at a real shit kicker bar by where I grew up once, and he requested Hell's Bells and then walked around to all the rednecks and was like shrieking Hell's Bells in their faces and like humping them on their stools and stuff. And they were so angry that we left because I thought he was going to get killed. Like legitimately, I thought he was going to die.
Oh,
so we had to leave the bar.
That's so Dave. On point.
Yeah. It's like, these guys all have gun racks in their car. They don't need a small Puerto Rican man humping them while they're trying to drink beer.
No.
So,
yeah, I've never done karaoke. Never even considered it. I've played in several bands, two of which I sang. And if you're good at YouTube, you can find demos and live stuff and whatever else on there. But that's it. Definitely no karaoke.
I almost got kicked out of, but then ended up getting a huge ovation for a duet with my buddy Tim for a duet of I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore at Cheers in Boston.
Oh, I've been there.
Cool, man.
And that when the line crawl across the floor, I crawled across the stage.
These karaoke songs sound like those Reddit stories where somebody says something and everybody cheers, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, that wasn't my experience for sure.
I can't believe we didn't get kicked out. But my buddy Rob, whose idea it was to go, he goes, let's go to Cheers and do karaoke. I used to do Chattanooga Choo Choo. And I'm with him. I'm like, he's full of crap. We walk in and the karaoke guy looks and he goes, hey, Chattanooga Choo Choo guy. So I was like, okay, we're in.
Nice.
Jason, did you want to add more?
No, I honestly, I just have a couple writing qualms with it, but I thought it was fun. I thought the cast was good. I thought the dialogue was good. I just had a good time with it. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's a theatrical slasher movie that I enjoyed. I can't complain at all.
All right. What about you, Hunter?
So I took my Valentine bride to see this on Valentine's Day. Our first movie that we ever saw as a couple was Dream Warriors.
Nice.
So we have a history of trying to see horror movies on Valentine's Day. 2 years ago, we were up in the Poconos here, and we saw a fan-made My Bloody Valentine sequel. That was actually not too bad. It had the look of it. I mean, nailed down perfectly. So I'm like, you know what I want? I want a cool slasher. I want a little bit of gore. If you give me a little comedy, I think this is going to be a home run. This is like a grand slam for a date movie on Valentine's Day for two horror lovers. And yes, Jason, she loves horror. Well, let me just put that out there.
I hope she mentioned me on your Valentine's date
she
in
did.
the theater.
She did. She goes, make sure he knows I like this one. I'm like,
oh, this is so good. 5 years running.
God forbid if we ever live close and you guys interacted all the time. You'd really be messed up.
I just drop movies off. I'd be like, you'll like this, Hunter, but I know your wife will.
You like this Hulk Hogan as Santa movie. I thought I like first of all, I like the killer. I like the mask and everything. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought some of the kills were fun. Got some gore. The dialogue was funny. I thought the dialogue between the main girl and her girlfriend was really good. The girlfriend was usually they're like throwaway annoying characters. I thought she was great. And then you hit the romance. So they managed to hit the horror, the comedy, and the romance, which you would think is almost impossible to do. But for us, it was like the ultimate. I'm like, this is the ultimate date movie for us for this time of year. I don't think we'll ever get another one like this because I don't think we have another 33 years left in us to see if one comes around in 33-year cycles. So I thought it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Nice.
About you, Mr. Camp Easy?
Mr. No Romance.
Kind of on the same page. I thought it was a good commercial crowd pleaser. You know, it's well written, and it's kind of because it's like an amped up comedy and horror. You can really kind of paint broad strokes with the romance stuff and the horror stuff, kind of put it under the comedy umbrella and just make it fun and light. And so I thought they did a good job with both halves because, you know, the rom-com stuff, to put a drinking word in there,
Drake,
works enough because it's kind of elevated, you know, it's sort of exaggerated rom-com because you know and compared to some of the other horror slashers that tried to do this, like what was It's a Wonderful Knife? They're just kind of flat. This one pretty much hit on every cylinder, but I'm with Jason. Like, you know, it's kind of a mid-level, satisfying, fun movie that, like, it did the job, but I think really good for mainstream audiences. And I think Josh Rubin was the right guy to direct this movie because he crushed it on the comedy.
He's really good with funny dialogue.
And the writer was Christopher Landon. Gave us Happy Death Day.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Michael Landon's kid.
Right. The points I'll have to bring up that I think could have been better, I'll bring up during spoilers. You know, they're not like movie ruining, just the things that I was at the end. I was like, man, if they'd done this, I feel like it would have raised it even more. But I think the casting of the two main characters was like perfect. They had outstanding chemistry on screen together.
They really did. You know, she's from Disney. Olivia Holt. She used to do all these Disney shows like Blog with a Dog and stuff like that. She's like a tween queen at one time.
Idea. I think the guy was in a Scream movie.
By the way, I thought that this would be like a Scream movie. Like, I thought I'd walk out going, oh. So the fact that it was a little better than that made me happy.
I mean, it has the look of a 90s slasher movie.
Yes.
It really has that.
Yeah, it's standing on the shoulders of Scream.
Yeah, big time. But, you know, the humor elevates this for me a lot. He did a really good job with that. So.
Yeah, I went a week later, so it came out on the 7th. I went on the 14th. We went to the noon showing. Theater was pretty full. I could not believe it. So it was cool to see it with a crowd that was really engaged too. Everyone was really laughing and having fun.
I went on the weekend, and the snow was supposed to come at like 2, and I went to like a 12 something show, and so it was like, what's the weather going to be like when I get out? And it was just starting to snow when I got out, but they checked my ID to make sure because I have the app for buying, so they check it to make sure I have the right thing. You know what they don't pay attention to? How old kids are to go into our movies.
Good.
There was some younger kids behind me, and there's a pretty graphic scene at the end, and I could hear them like, oh. I was like loving it. I was like, oh, this is
good.
Awesome.
There'll be future final guys.
So I saw this Monday at 1 o'clock, 1:30, something like that. And there were a ton of people in the theater. And I was like, what the hell's going on? It was President's Day. So
that's right.
Work off. But there was, in the seat beside me was a kid who was maybe 5. And as soon as I saw him, I'm like, dude, this is abuse. Like, this is... And it was like, it wasn't too bad until the end. There's a kill at the end that is crazy graphic. And the kid just turns to his mom or sister, whoever the hell that was, and says, I'm going to have nightmares. I was like, oh my God.
Like how
I had several people they're probably older than 5, but 10. I mean, pretty young kids in this. And I'm like, what are you doing, people?
Yeah.
Jason, was it Tina?
Yeah, right. Her kid will not have nightmares.
No, she's seasoned at this point. I just wanted to say too, it looks like the movie made $23 million on an $18 million budget so far. So, tracking well.
Sequel coming.
The next franchise,
and it's really cool to see Ruben get a movie with that big of a budget. Because we were watching for a couple years on like Scare Me is as small a movie as you're gonna get. And to go to this, like, that's a really cool progression for him.
Scare Me's getting a lot of love when people are talking about this movie, and they're talking about Josh Rubin's resume.
Good.
Scare Me is the one that's almost like a play, right?
Yeah.
In the cabin. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 2 people telling stories that I somehow loved. I don't know how, but
he did Werewolves Within, right?
Good. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
and then he was in Deer
what was the movie with his jizz hitting the sink?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. It had the word deer in it or
Foley
something.
I've ever heard.
That movie's awesome.
Deer or Bambi or what was that?
The hell was that called? Damn it!
I even brought that scene up to him when we had him on the show.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That and the scene where he's Wounded Fawn is the name of it.
There we go.
Fawn.
Okay. The scene where he's just writhing in the dirt for like 10 minutes.
That's amazing.
At the end, yes.
Oh, it's so funny. So yeah, it's really cool to see him get a movie. Like $18 million is a freaking big budget. Like that's,
for a horror movie too.
That's
huge.
amazing. Good for him.
No, we're proud. Jack's reaching for
ready?
the bell. If you can.
Yeah, I'm bailing at the bell. You guys will have to call a cab.
All right, man.
Peace.
Have a good one, Chad.
See you, dude.
All right.
See you, Chad. Okay, so if I had a problem with this movie, it might be that the killer reveal was a little muddled and anticlimactic.
Yes, totally agree. That's one of my 2 complaints. The
That
setup
word, I got a scream feel. I was like, oh god.
The setup for who it was and who it ended up being felt anticlimactic, big time. I was just like, oh, okay. Like that didn't have the buildup I wanted. And I think the reason for that for me is they spend quite a bit of time with characters at the beginning who just disappear from the movie, like the boss and the best friend have quite a bit of screen time, and then they're out of the movie for an hour.
Yeah.
And then they appear at the end. So at no point was I like, oh, maybe it's one of them. It didn't even occur to me. And I feel like had they been in the movie more, there maybe would have been a little more mystery as to who it might be, and there might have been more red herrings that we just didn't get. So I feel like if characters hadn't disappeared, it would have fixed the killer reveal problem a little more.
I think what helped the reveal problem is it was kind of funny too. So it wasn't just tense and everything. There were kind of funny moments in it.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm not pissed. And by the way, the fact that there were whole stuff set in a drive-in, Joe Bob's gonna cream his jeans over this.
We got a Ruben cameo there too.
We
got
did?
out of a car. He got out of a car. He's the guy who yelled, "Someone call 911."
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the kill at the beginning in the wine press.
Yeah. She deserved it.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
She was
That was
annoying.
good stuff.
My other kind of wish list was actually could have used another kill or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a little more amped up. I felt like you get that kill at the beginning in the wine press and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be crazy kills throughout. And it really wasn't.
You get the fun at the drive-in, which kind of
which was great.
Pulls you back.
When they're having that intense conversation in that van while that couple is just banging in the back. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, all that comedy stuff was really good. I thought those two characters were so good. The scene where they're just talking in the restaurant at the beginning and she's just unloading on him.
Yeah.
And I thought like that stuff was just good. Like that was good dialogue, good character setup.
And then there's a scene where her girlfriend is talking to her. I think it's when she's telling her to go to the airport to chase the guy. And she rips off the names of like 50 rom-coms. She's like, he's going to his best friend's wedding, then you better go up Notting Hill to...
Yeah. Yeah, the best friend was great in this movie.
Yeah, and she disappears. Like, I wish she had been in the movie more.
They could have used, because she had that boyfriend that she was seeing that they never show, that's kind of a mystery. Like, they could have used that as a good red herring if they teased it some more.
Exactly.
I agree.
That is my biggest problem, is characters set up the beginning just aren't.
Or they could have killed him.
Or they could have killed him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it's like a couple little writing problems that I had. It wasn't like the look of the movie or anything, or like all that worked for me, but I just could have used some more of that. Because, the description of him being old with arthritis and shit, like had he showed up halfway through the movie or like at the police station, if he'd showed up to like bail someone out or something, like that could have been a funny kill in there.
Yeah. By the way, either of you think that the main girl looks a little like Topanga from Boy Meets World? She looks like a prettier Topanga.
Never seen it.
Look at pictures later. The whole time I
didn't watch enough Boy Meets World to have Topanga radar.
Who could not watch? I'm all about Mr. Feeney.
I'm more about Winnie. Wonder Years.
There was something else I was thinking of and it completely slipped my mind. Damn it. Oh, I know what it was. The scene in the apartment when he cuts his hand, that was all really well done, but the build up to she sees her dildo, her vibrator or whatever, and goes and gets it, and there's this, she's trying to talk to him and hide it, and goes, and when she opens the closet, Hard Eyes is in there, and she hits him in the face with the dildo. Like that was awesome. That was so well done.
That really was. It's hysterical.
Yeah, that was just this build up of her being embarrassed, and then the killer's in there, and she hits him with it. That was so good.
And again, I think that's good writing and good direction. So they executed a lot on this movie. Because I think in lesser hands, this movie could have been a mess.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
And I love the boss. I loved her boss. I wouldn't want to have her as a boss. But I like
the commercial that she made at the beginning was awesome.
Oh my God. I'd be like, don't blame me. This is all on you for greenlighting this thing and making it happen.
Yeah, that scene was great because like as they're playing it, you can see it like hitting her like, what was I thinking with the Hard Eyes killer out there making a Valentine's Day commercial about death? And everyone's like, what the fuck?
I don't like
your mind.
The red ribbons coming out of them.
Yeah.
The wounds.
That's good shit. Yeah,
and then you had Devon Sawa in this movie.
Yeah.
I was surprised. And Jordana Brewster, who I didn't realize it was her until almost the end.
Which made for a good reference to the Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
The detectives. that was solid.
Yeah.
So yeah. Just a fun movie. It was just, I just enjoyed it sitting there.
I think it's the ultimate date movie. I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a better fun date movie this year.
Oh, by the way, so I went and saw the live action short films that are nominated for Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 of them and they're all about 20 minutes long and they're all good, but they're all kind of depressing. But there's one that's called something like "Am I a Robot" or something like that. That starts off with a woman, like, you know, when you get the CAPTCHA thing, where like she does that and it keeps not letting her through, and then it starts to like ask her if she's a robot. It goes down this road or whatever. So afterwards, I'm talking with my friends and they're going down that road about robots and stuff like that, and I'm like, you guys should really see Companion. And
yeah,
somebody was like, "Oh, I heard it's really good." So I may have seeded some normies to go see.
I hope so. That movie deserves as many eyes that you can get on that. Love that movie.
Oh, Michael Clark's telling us to watch Beau is Afraid. He sent me some screenshots. I checked. It is 3 hours long, man. It's just
The funny thing is, I can watch 5 hours of Parks and Rec without even getting out of my chair. But I'm gonna balk into 3 hours.
But you can stop Parks and Rec anytime you want. Beau is Afraid. Now you're like, oh my God, I'm an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
And you really need to be, you need like that, like the Saturday afternoon when it's snowing. That's what you need. Like,
well, I think we're getting snow again. So maybe we can do it then.
Yeah. We're supposed to get some snow too. So
Woohoo!
I definitely won't watch it because unless my power goes out, well, I guess I wouldn't watch it then anyways. I got work to do.
Reenactment.
I definitely want to see it.
I do too. It's a matter of time. I just saw The Gorge when you mentioned it is over 2 hours. Like, God damn it.
It didn't need to be that long, but again, it's probably the non-action parts are the best parts of the movie. So
The Institute didn't need to be this long. It could have been 400 pages and been just as good.
Oh, shit. It's true.
All right. So Chad, take us out.
Yeah, I was going to say, we never discussed.
Well,
okay.
We know what's coming out this weekend.
The Monkey.
A monkey.
Oh, is that this weekend? Oh.
Oz Perkins, baby.
Yeah, so.
Is that a big release?
Yes.
That is a big-ass release.
Okay, done.
Yeah, that's a
hell
must.
Yes. I'm
psyched for that one.
I've now seen 2 trailers for it, and both of them look great.
Hell yeah. All right, well then next week we are doing The Monkey. Thanks to everyone for showing up. Appreciate you. And see you next week.
We love you.
Game over.